Mercedes' real advantage over BMW. Every time Mercedes and BMW come up, the internet turns it into a race. Horsepower charts, 0 to 60 times, track videos, and lap records. It's always about speed, always about who's faster. But here's the uncomfortable question nobody asks. What if performance isn't the real reason people choose Mercedes at all? What if speed is just the distraction, while the real advantage sits somewhere deeper? Because when a CEO pulls up to a meeting or a diplomat steps out of a car, it's never a BMW. It's almost always a Mercedes. So why? Why this argument exists? For decades, BMW has branded itself as the ultimate driving machine. Sharp steering, tight suspension, aggressive design. Everything about the brand screams control, engagement, power in your hands. And they're good at it. Really good. BMW makes cars that feel alive, hungry, ready to attack the road. So naturally, people assume that's what luxury buyers want. More feedback, more speed, more aggression. But Mercedes never chased that energy. They went in the opposite direction. And that decision changed everything. Control versus arrival. BMW sells control. Mercedes sells arrival. Sit inside a BMW and you'll notice something immediately. The dashboard wraps around you. Screens angle toward the driver. Buttons sit within reach. The car is built around you. The message is clear. You're the pilot. You're in charge. You're here to drive. Now step into a Mercedes. The cabin opens up. Wider, airier, softer. The screens float instead of lean. The seats feel like furniture, not buckets. You don't feel like you're strapped into a machine. You feel like you've entered a private space. That's intentional. Mercedes designs cars assuming you've already won. You're not chasing. You're not proving. You're arriving. The psychology behind the choice. This is where it stops being about cars and starts being about people. BMW attracts drivers who still want to feel everything. The road, the engine, the corners. There's hunger there, energy, the need to push harder, go faster, be sharper. It's ambition on wheels. Mercedes attracts a different mindset. People who value silence, smoothness, effortlessness. They don't want drama, they want calm. They don't want to wrestle the car, they want it to glide. It's not about age, it's about identity. BMW is about becoming. Mercedes is about being. The silent flex. Here's the part nobody admits. A BMW wants attention. A Mercedes doesn't need it. BMW drivers still want to be seen, heard, noticed. Mercedes drivers don't. They don't race. They don't rev. They don't explain. They just show up. And that quiet presence, that unspoken authority, and that's the real advantage. The curiosity loop. So if Mercedes isn't winning on speed, then what exactly makes the brand feel heavier, more respected, more powerful? How Mercedes built status without saying a word. Status is a strange thing. You can't buy it directly, and you can't force people to respect you. It's something you earn over time through consistency, through presence, through how you move in the world. Mercedes understood this long before most brands did, and instead of screaming about power or performance, they quietly positioned themselves as the car of authority. Not flashy authority, real authority. The kind that doesn't need validation. That's why when you look at global leaders, CEOs, royalty, and diplomats, the car waiting outside is usually a Mercedes. Not because it's the fastest, but because it sends a message without words. Stability, control, success. Mercedes became the default choice for people who already have power. That wasn't accidental. For decades, they supplied armored vehicles to heads of state, built long wheelbase luxury sedans for executives, and focused heavily on rear seat comfort, something BMW barely prioritized for years. The message was subtle but clear. This isn't a driver's car, it's a leader's car. You're not here to prove yourself, you've already done that. You're here to be transported in silence. This is where Mercedes outplayed BMW emotionally. BMW marketed hunger, Mercedes marketed fulfillment. BMW ads show empty roads, tight corners, and drivers pushing limits. Mercedes ads show city skylines, night drives, smooth movements, and people who look calm, composed, and in control. One brand says, "Go faster." The other says, "You've arrived." That difference changes everything. When someone buys a Mercedes, they're not chasing excitement. They're choosing peace. They're choosing effortlessness. They're choosing a car that fades into the background while they focus on life. Mercedes also mastered the art of silence. Their cabins are designed to isolate you from the world. Thicker glass, softer suspension tuning, seats that feel like lounge chairs. Everything is engineered to remove stress. BMW keeps you connected to the road. Mercedes disconnects you from it. That's why long drives in a Mercedes feel shorter. That's why traffic feels less annoying. The car becomes a bubble, a private space, and that's priceless to someone who already deals with pressure all day. And then there's the badge. The three-pointed star carries weight. It's been around for over a century. It represents dominance on land, sea, and air. That's not marketing fluff. That's heritage. Mercedes invented the first automobile. That history gives the brand credibility that BMW simply doesn't have. BMW built amazing cars. Mercedes built the industry. There's a difference. People might not consciously think about it, but they feel it. When a Mercedes pulls up, it feels important. When a BMW pulls up, it feels sporty. Both are good, but they speak to different emotions. This is why Mercedes wins without racing anyone. They don't chase trends. They set tone. They don't shout, they whisper. And in a world where everyone is screaming for attention, whispers feel powerful. BMW is about proving yourself. Mercedes is about knowing who you are. That emotional positioning is the real advantage. Not speed, not horsepower, presence. Comfort is power. People underestimate comfort. They think it's soft, weak, something you choose when you've given up on excitement. But Mercedes understands something most brands don't. Real power is being able to move through the world without friction, without noise, without stress. Comfort isn't about laziness, it's about control. When your environment is calm, you think clearer, you make better decisions, you move with confidence. That's why Mercedes engineers obsess over things most drivers never consciously notice, like how doors close, how road noise disappears at highway speed, how the suspension smooths out broken pavement without floating, how seats support your body over long drives without fatigue. These details aren't flashy, but they change how you feel behind the wheel. BMW, by design, keeps you engaged. You feel every bump, every corner, every shift. That's exciting, especially when you're young or chasing adrenaline. But Mercedes goes the other way. They reduce input. They filter the world. They remove distractions. Their cars don't demand your energy, they protect it. And that's why executives choose them. After 12 hours of meetings, nobody wants a car that feels like another challenge. They want something that carries them home in silence, like a moving living room. This philosophy shows up everywhere. Look at how Mercedes prioritizes rear seat comfort, legroom, and ride quality, because they assume not every owner wants to drive themselves. That mindset alone separates them from BMW. Mercedes designs cars for being driven in, not just driven. The brand understands that real status is sitting in the back seat, answering emails, making deals, or just thinking in peace while someone else handles the road. BMW still designs around the driver first. Mercedes designs around the person. That's why long wheelbase versions of Mercedes sedans dominate markets where chauffeurs are common, like Asia and the Middle East. Those buyers don't care about cornering speed. They care about silence, smoothness, and space. Mercedes gives them that. BMW never fully committed to that world emotionally. Mercedes built a kingdom in it. Then there's how Mercedes treats luxury. For BMW, luxury is often sporty. Alcantara, carbon fiber, aggressive shapes. It's luxury with an edge. Mercedes takes a softer approach. Wood trims, ambient lighting, gentle curves. It feels like a high-end hotel instead of a race car cockpit. One brand excites you, the other calms you. Again, different emotions, different goals. And emotions drive buying decisions more than specs ever will. People don't remember torque numbers. They remember how a car made them feel. Calm, confident, important. Mercedes owns that emotional space. When you drive one, you feel like life is under control, even if it isn't. That's powerful. So when people ask why Mercedes feels different, this is why. It's not about engines, or tech, or speed. It's about energy. BMW is tension. Mercedes is release. BMW is ambition. Mercedes is arrival. And once you reach a certain point in life, you stop chasing the next thing. You start protecting what you already have. Peace becomes the ultimate flex, and Mercedes sells peace better than anyone. The real advantage. So now you see it. Mercedes doesn't win because it's faster. It wins because it understands human psychology better than anyone else in this space. BMW sells the chase, the hunger, the push to be better tomorrow. Mercedes sells the moment after you've already won. The calm, the silence, the feeling that you don't need to prove anything anymore. That's why a Mercedes doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't need to. Real power never does. It just exists. When someone steps out of one, people notice without knowing why. There's weight to it. History, authority, presence. You don't flex a Mercedes. You arrive in one. And that's the real advantage. Emotional positioning. Mercedes doesn't sell cars. They sell a state of mind. The idea that you've made it, that the grind is behind you, that life is no longer about chasing, but choosing peace. So here's the real question. Would you rather chase success or live in it? If this changed how you see Mercedes, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video.